Welcome to I Rock Business with Confidence, the podcast where passion meets profit without the pressure of a big price tag. I'm your host, Cori Fonville Foster, transformational speaker, certified business coach, trainer, and the CEO behind the mic. In every episode, we dive deep into the heart of entrepreneurship, bringing you stories, strategies, and tips to monetize your passions while maintaining your budget. Whether you're a budding entrepreneur or looking to scale up, this is your go-to resource for affordable sales and marketing strategies. Join us as we interview small business experts from around the globe, sharing their journeys, challenges, and the solutions that propelled them to success. I Rock Business with Confidence podcast is here to demystify the process of running a successful business on a budget. Get ready to transform your entrepreneurial dreams into reality, one episode at a time. All right, hi guys, welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Cori Fonville Foster, and I'm so excited for this episode. This is one of our bonuses where we are bringing on some of our amazing speakers that will be featured in our upcoming event, the Implementation Lab Live, happening October 18th and 19th. And today's guest is Toni Moore, Esquire, who is a powerhouse business and legacy lawyer with over 25 years of experience. She helps entrepreneurs and leaders build bankable businesses, bulletproof brands, and secure generational wealth. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited just to hear the word generational wealth. She's also the founder of Moore Legal Firm. Toni inspires audiences to turn brilliance into assets and hustle into inheritance. I'm gonna do a little snap for that. We are so excited to have her on the podcast, but we are also even more excited to have her at the event. Today, you guys are gonna get a little taste, a little teaser of what to expect from her at our event. But to get the full thing, you guys got to go ahead and register and book your spot. But we're going to go ahead and dive in. How are you doing, Toni?
Oh, it's awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, I love having people here with legal know-how, right? Some people think they got legal know-how, but I like to have the true people, not new to it, but true to it in the house, because there's just so much that regular people just don't know. And a lot of us don't realize that ignorance is not an excuse in front of the law, right? We up here trying to do a little this, do a little that, make things happen, but we're not protecting ourselves, not legally. So I'm excited to have you come on and kind of help us with a few little legal strategies, little things. Now, y'all, look, she ain't do her disclaimer, but I'm going to do it. She is not your lawyer, okay? Any advice here, look, this kind of for entertainment, enjoy. If you need some legal advice, you need to book her. Okay, but do we need to do any more disclaimers? Because I'm not a lawyer, but I know that part. She is not your lawyer.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, Cori, all righty. Yes, you did it exactly right. I always tell people I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer until you start paying me.
Amen.
But I definitely think that we need to know. When it comes to law, we need to know what we need to know so that we can at least protect ourselves and our cash flow.
Yes. And look, she is available if you need a lawyer now. So we'll get you more information at the end for that. But let's go ahead and dive in. So we already know, like I said, you're not new to this, you're true to this. So what are kind of the most common legal blind spots, if we can call it that you notice with entrepreneurs as far as them kind of overlooking what they need to protect as far as their money, their assets when it comes to their business?
One of the biggest things, what I'm finding out more and more, is that a lot of people are very creative. We're creative. We create stuff, right? We've been created by the creator to create, but they don't necessarily protect their creative names. I'm meeting people now who've had brand names for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And they get upset to find out that there's other people who have taken derivatives of it, or they get upset because they've been doing it for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And someone else came in, got the domain, got the marketing, and they took ownership of their brand. And I'm like, well, in the United States, it's the person who registers first who gets the respect by the government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not realize that. So I know that you mentioned that, because some people think that they can claim it later and say, well, I used it first. I've been using it for 20 years. And it's yes, but
Did you legally register the name? Did you trademark? Did you copyright? Whatever the case may be, what did you do to legally protect all these assets? And now the person that legalized it, who might not have even made 10 cents with the information, can now sue you if you use it, which is wild to me. Like, dang, not only did I lose my stuff, but now if I use it, they can come to me and be like, hey, hold on, this is my brand. This is my name. So
well, that's usually a misunderstanding, because I've been coached up. Okay. I've been lawyered up for a long time, but I've been coached up. I believe in coaching, even after, going to school, getting good grades, getting decent jobs, and then going to law school, going back to law school to get my tax coached up, and also just all the stuff. Right. But I'm now taking this training class so I can get coached up when it comes to podcasting. I ain't still do it yet, even though I've been around for a whole year in this coached up training class. But I'm one of your clients who y'all talk about, right? But people come in and be like, "Well, I trademark, so I can send out cease and desist," and I'm like, "But you can't, because there are some people who have been married to the brand as maybe a common law." I used to be a divorce attorney, so sometimes a lot of it's similar to comes into play, because I spent a lot of years as a divorce attorney and a lot of years doing compliance. So let's just talk about the trademark issues. Okay. Most people think as soon as I file a trademark, I can stop everybody else. There's 45 different ways to secure a brand. 45. So we're going to call you Foster Delight. Okay. So if your brand was Foster Delight, but there was somebody else who was using Foster Delight that you didn't know about, and it was literally like a common law brand, because in the United States, you can also have a common law brand. Some states, Pennsylvania changed that in 2005, but prior to 2005, your girl was fighting people who had common law marriages. And you know what I mean? So you can have a common law brand. You can establish that you've been using it, across your state lines. You've been using it in a particular way, whether it's for training. So fostered, maybe you were doing fostered care and fostered elite and foster, I'm just using your last name and just expanding on the brand. But if somebody wants to be like, well, fostered or us, because they're playing with your name, but they're doing us. They filed their trademark. You've been using yours for 15 years. They just filed a cease and desist. We're like, no. By law, you've been doing all different types of fostered. And technically, when people try to become trademark bullies, and within the first 5 years, attorneys then can have a petition for cancellation to cancel someone's brand, because these people are new to the game and they just think they can send out a cease and desist. And that's not true. So you always have to be mindful. Like, for instance, most people now know, maybe, but not a lot of people know that Burger King is not the Burger King we know, the national global brand we know. That's not the first time someone used Burger King. There was a family that used Burger King in Chicago, and guess what? They did not trademark the brand. Someone else saw Burger King and was like, oh my God, I'm going to trademark it. But the thing is, the Burger King conglomerate can't cease and desist on Burger King, the family brand. They got the 6, they can, they're marketing in their 6 blocked area. So people can block you in and lock you in, but they can't cancel. I have a client, she's a nonprofit. She's making tons of money, tons, like 6-figure, 7-figure, tons of money. And she finally decides to file a trademark application. 12 years later, someone else from Sweden decided to file a similar trademark application, but they filed before us. That's why in my book, Don't Lose It, one of the chapters says trademark it first. Because the person who registered first, they're the ones who get the respect. They register before we register. We got to cease and desist. And I was like, baby, I'm not just one of them trademark lawyers who just file applications. We will fight back.
Okay.
Clap back and fight back.
I love that. I need a lawyer like that, because I'm like, yes, look, the more you know. Because I love the fact that you said we do have a little bit of room to cut if people do that. I've never had heard that before. So look, we're learning something today, guys, which is great though. Now look, even though we got a protection, let's do the right thing, y'all. Let's get things trademarked But at least we know that there is a little hope for some people who've been doing business for a while, that there are some other options and some other rooms for grace for those who waited a while and didn't jump on the trademark bandwagon. But I love that you said you ready to fight, because sometimes we need that kind of lawyer in our corner that's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, we got plan A, B, C, we about to get them with this and that. And so I love that you are about this life. So
Yeah.
look gangsta in you. I like it.
Okay. We up in Philly over here. Okay.
Also, so let's switch gears a little teeny bit.
Okay.
About contracts for a second, because you often say that contracts are kind of like a game changer for businesses.
Yes.
Can you share maybe one example of how the right contract protected a client of yours, or how maybe not having a good contract in place was to their detriment?
Yeah, having a good contract in place, right? One of my clients is a fashion brand, a huge fashion brand, right? And so sometimes with sponsorships, they want to take ownership of your name, your likeness, your image, because they gave you $100,000, or because they gave you 540,000, or because now you're bringing them in as a joint venture partner. But having the right contracts, you have to pretty much carve out you got to set boundaries. And sometimes us girls don't know how to set boundaries because we want to be everybody's friend and we want to play nice. But in business, you definitely got to set boundaries, because the bigger the brand you work with, the more they try to take from you. They will want to take your name. They want to take your image or likeness. They want to take ownership of your social media. So we negotiate. It's like redlining. When we're employees, you're not redlining a contract from your employer. You're like, yes, okay, because they're helping you pay your bills. But when you start expanding yourself in entrepreneurship, you have to understand that, guess what? Just because it's in a contract, to me, a contract is a documentation of a conversation. Most people don't have these conversations, but you have to. So we were able to carve out, no, you're not getting a name, image, and likeness. No, you're not going to utilize her images through perpetuity. No, you don't have access to her brand unless you're just promoting the X, Y, and Z, And then we had to also carve out what the assets were. So that's one of the things they're like, oh, this is what it means to have a pit bull and heels on your side. Well, it's what it means to set boundaries in business, because we've been indoctrinated to what? Go to school, get good grades, get a job. Nobody tells us afterwards. But when you live corporatized, I've been corporatized for a long time, and eventually you don't fight back. Eventually you just be like, here, just take it. You know what I mean? And eventually I meet people and they can't negotiate because they're employees, and whatever they create during their employment is owned by the master. Even I even did like music law, and now I'm doing publishing law. To me, it's the same thing. Like, I told someone who is a book agent, I was like, it's the same thing. Y'all doing the same thing. Okay. You have itemized, you have productized these people's brilliance. And now you're trying to figure out how to leverage it to make the most money, the bang for the buck, with their $500 or $1 million advance, which is really, what is that? A loan. So even when we were trying to carve out those things, you got to set boundaries. You got to be like, you know what? This agreement is my advocacy, because if you sign on the dotted line and you don't fight back, they're going to take over.
Yes. I love that. I think people don't realize how important contracts are, and how important it is to have someone with legal know-how kind of review your contracts or create your contracts. You don't want to be out here winging it, because people will play. They will try to play with you, and it's like, no. Even if you're working with family, friends, I don't care if it's your child. Like, put that stuff in writing so that you guys know what the expectations are, responsibilities, how the money gonna be split up, when it's gonna be split up, all the things. It's just so important. I think people are sometimes afraid to hurt folks' feelings. Sometimes people are not sure what to include, and that's why having legal representation is important, so that they can tell you how to best protect yourself in an ethical way. Because I think some people are like, well, I don't want to, mess up people, but it's like, no,
Right.
you know, it's ethical, and you can talk to your lawyer like, these are the things that are important to me. What are best practices? Like, you can make sure that you're taking care, but also that you're taking care of the people that you're working with as well. Because I get some people are like, I don't know. It's like, but you don't want people to come after you later. because that's gonna hurt. You thought they was your friend until they said, "Oh, I'm gonna sue you," and now you're not friends no more. So protect yourself.
Exactly. That is is especially when you get to a certain point where people are coming to you because you got the cash flow, you got the know-how, maybe they want you to seed into their business. It's not like you're being a problem. No, you are setting boundaries to prevent, because as a former litigator, I still litigate in the trademark, but I'm not in the courthouse because it was the worst. Okay. Because lawyers play games. You ever think, I always say, oh, you think that your hairdresser is bad when you go to another hairdresser and they figure it out? Mess with a lawyer. You know what I mean? Because we want to win. So even sometimes my clients, my one sister, she passed away, but she'd be like, Tone, I need you to turn the lawyer down. And I was like, I never turn a lawyer down, but because it's always, you always got to be on it. You always got to be mindful. And you said something, if you can, I would rather have us craft our own contracts, because contracts are advocacy. That is, you're setting the boundaries. When I write contracts, now I'm a good person. I believe in karma. So I'm not going to do anything that I won't sign, but always remember, the person who creates the contract, they control the relationship.
Absolutely. Control the contracts, y'all. All right, let's dive in some more, because I like where we're going with this kind of brand protection. So when it comes to things like trademarks, copyrights, basically any type of intellectual property, what should, maybe like one or two things, what should small business owners kind of be thinking about so they can better bulletproof their brand? So maybe give them two little tips for if they want to protect their intellectual property right now.
Absolutely. So if you want to, we'll stay in the bulletproof your brand category, right? With regards to it, the copyright is something that you create. Now, even if you're not a musician, but if you are a musician, because we don't know, but it's the music that you create, if you are a lyricist or a poet, such as myself, then you want to file a copyright registration. You can go to copyright.gov. We'll get into it more and during the conference, but you can go to copyright.gov and file a copyright registration that claims your ownership. That's one, right? And the copyright is the things that you create. When you productize your mind, how did you do it? Was it a training class? Was it a diagram? Was it software that you created into software language? That's all the things that you don't want people to duplicate, because when they duplicate what you do, they diminish your dollars. If you have a hot training class out right now that everybody wants a piece of, then guess what? You better make sure that you copyright. If there's a name, there's an image, there's a likeness, you copyright all of the how-tos. That's one, copyright.gov. The second one is to bulletproof your brand, is to file a trademark for the name. Okay. So once again, we're going to play with your last name, Foster Strategies. No, Foster Solutions. I like that, right? Foster Solutions is really hot. And we want to make sure that if you are Foster Solutions, are you doing training classes, then maybe it could be a Foster Solutions certification class. That's a trademark classification. Always remember, it's the name that you're protecting, but then there's 45 different ways to bulletproof your brand, because there's 45 different categories. So with Foster Solutions, if you're training and you have training classes and you have a podcast with Foster Solutions, then that's a trademark application and class 41, y'all, and that's at the uspto.gov, right? But say that you're not just doing training classes, because I work with a lot of people who are either they're influencers, and you're like, oh yeah, but I do Foster Solutions, but we just do the Foster's artistry. We make you look good and feel good. We build you up so that you could be good, right? So we just do strictly consulting. So now that training class is no longer a training class. It's a consulting. So sometimes people, when they do it on their own, I saw someone's do-it-yourself trademark application today, and I was like, I'm sorry, what is this? And it was like, well, I decided to put everything in. I said, law doesn't work like that. Law is logical. Law is almost like the AI bot. You know what I mean? Like whatever you put into law, it's going to look for that. So if you don't know, then you have to either consult with someone to figure out what language you need so that you can bulletproof your brand, because it's about the name as well. Not just the ingredients, but it's also about the name. Then we talked about with regards to having a contract in place, right? When one of my clients worked with Louis Vuitton, I saw that they had a policy So I went back to my clients and was like, do you have a policy? Like if you are having a joint venture partnership with the individuals, do you have a policy on how they can utilize your brand, how they can utilize your name, your image, your likeness? How do they utilize your platform? And they were like, no. I said, man, I saw Louis Vuitton's policy when they were working with one of my clients, and I was like, we gotta fix everything so that we have a policy, because the policy polices, right? So not only that, so we have a policy in place for how you utilize your name, your image, your likeness. It's not just for athletes. You're a celebrity. If you start thinking like a celebrity and walking like a celebrity, then you want to celebrate yourself and love yourself enough to protect yourself, right? So having a policy in place with regards to it. Another thing I found out from another client, she did not have a policy in place on how you can utilize her intellectual property. Like if you have, like we have Foster Solutions, right? But remember, Foster Solutions, one of the classes could be the Foster Vault, where you're helping people like prepare and like and know. You got to put somewhere in writing, because some people act like they don't know. Do not copy my stuff.
Yeah.
Like if you want to utilize it, we can license it. You can be a joint venture partner. You can even be an advocate, but don't copy my stuff, because I have a client right now. We're just waiting for the time and the place, because someone took her class, her very popular class, and they was like, oh, well, she calls it this, so I'm just going to add the to it.
Ooh.
And then they filed a trademark application. Sadly, they filed it before her, but I was like, what are we going to do? I said, we're going to fight back. You know what I mean? I said, it's going to cost you some money, because remember, litigation is more expensive than what? Registration. You register it, you can do it yourself. Litigation is totally different, especially in the trademark space, because it's intellectual property, and they don't care that you're a small person. It's like the game. Remember, law is logical. So they're like, oh, okay, well, you need to file a petition for opposition, and this is what happens. Oh, okay. Oh, you need to cancel. Oh, this is what happened. Oh, you need to ask the courts to do something on your favor. You know what I mean? Because letter of protest, my client was like, well, can I file a letter of protest? Not if your only protest is that you used it first. Law doesn't care. It could be a protest because they were liars and deceivers, protest because they lied on their application. Other than that, law is like, no. This is the time and a place, and this is not the time or the place. So when you're bulletproofing your brand, then you have to understand and appreciate, okay, it's my intellectual property. Anything that I create, copyright, take ownership. Anything that a trademarkable name, because it's remarkable, it's rememberable, it's marketable, it's monetizable, it's yours, sellable as well, then guess what? You file a trademark for it. You're setting parameters, then you need to understand contracts. Someone said, Tone, I created the business. I have my, what they say, I created the business. I have my service agreement. I have my privacy notice that you need to have. Because if you're trying to do anything with regards to Facebook ads, they're going to look for it, or you're going to get shut down. You don't want that to happen. We even sell them for like pennies on the dollar, so that at least you can protect yourself, because every state has their own privacy issues. California is very hard to please and appease, you know what I mean? But you need to take advantage of the fact that law is logical and it's looking for compliance. That's all. I tell people law is a diva, honey. Okay. It's like, you do what I tell you to do, or I'm going to throw you off of this, platform, which they'll do. I'll cease and desist you, which they'll do. I have a takedown notice, which they'll do. They don't care. They're looking for A, B, and C. You don't have A, B, and C, you're not in compliance. Okay. So knowing that, having that in place, not only that, but if you are working with someone, listen to me, as a former divorce attorney, felt like I was almost 10 years a slave. You know what I mean? But always remember, when two or more gather together, when you guys are thinking about making the money and how you're going to JV partner and what you're going to do and the outreach and stuff, I just want you to legalize your mind just a little bit and think about the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario for some individuals that I couldn't help was that they did not have a partnership agreement. So if you're working with someone, I don't care if they tell you to turn the lawyer down. No. You got to protect yourself first. Okay. Legalize your stuff first. Set boundaries. I want you to set boundaries in business and be like, this is good and everything. but I want to make sure that we're taking care of everything that we need to. Who's going to put up the money? Who's going to do the day-to-day? Who's going to have access? Because I found out the hard way from one of my clients that when you go to Legal Zoom, guess who they listen to? The person who paid them.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't even care that y'all was partners, because they don't let I don't think they let two owners come together and sign in on the same account. So they only listen to, because all they're doing is just doing clerical work. So they're not going to think about the legal side. And so knowing this, you got to put your paperwork in place. Knowing this, you got to set boundaries. Even bulletproofing your brand, most people, especially once you get a certain age, before 40, most people are not thinking about this, but you got to create a succession plan. Am I going to buy another business? Am I going to merge my business with another business? Am I going to trade my business with another business? Am I going to level somebody up so that they can become my chief everything officer, so that I can sit back and eat bonbons and, and just have that soft life, You got to think about those things, because you never know the day or the hour. Some people get sick. There were a couple of people who got sick. You know what I mean? A couple of people who are fighting through their sickness. But you always got to think about, if you're building something up, is it going to die when you die? Or is it something that is like you're creating generational wealth? And if you're creating generational wealth, then it's supposed to at least last for a generation. That means you're going to have to level somebody up. You got to let them learn the lessons, oversee over you what you're doing, and have something in place, whether it's a trust fund, whether it's a legacy directive, whether it is you make more than enough money, and the managers will come, the family office folks will come and be like, hey, you got $50 million. Let me help you manage your coin, but you always have to be mindful of the fact, as you expand yourself, as you're building your business, don't ever forget that your legacy is watching. Most people are like, I want to leave a legacy. Well, you can't leave anything that you ain't built.
Oh, wow. That's a drop the mic moment right there. Oh my gosh, you have been giving us so many gems on this podcast. I was enjoying myself. I was thinking, like, I'm about to rewatch this, take some more notes. Like, you done gave me some brand names. I'm like, what? You like Foster Solutions? Hold on now. Okay. The wheels are turning. But guys, look, I know y'all are like, don't cut it short, but I gotta look at the time. But guys, this doesn't have to be the last time that you hear from our amazing speaker. Again, she will be at the Implementation Lab Live happening October 18th and 19th. She will be dropping even more gems. You're going to learn about safeguarding your profits from legal blind spots. You're going to learn again more about bulletproofing your brand and your reputation. And you're going to be also learning how to secure a lasting legacy for future generations. A lot of us in business did this not just for ourselves, but for future generations. But if we don't protect it, then it's not going to be there. And then to top it off, guys, now this is a free event, but if you go ahead and upgrade to VIP, our amazing speaker here is giving us the Secure Your Millions guide. It's the wealth protection playbook that empowers generational wealth building. So if you guys are interested in learning more about how to protect your amazing brands, how to secure those profits so that they are available for generations to come, then you can go ahead and upgrade to get that free VIP gifts. Before we go, though, we're going to let our amazing speaker go ahead and drop one last gem if you have final words for our folks, and also let them know how they can reach you. And all this information will also be in the show notes of this podcast.
Thank you so much. I love it, love it, love it. I love that the fact that you are doing the implementation lab, because sometimes we just need to hear it and implement there, you know what I mean, before life happens and all that stuff. So for me, it's always with regards to just allowing yourself to, one, understand and appreciate that your business, that gives you an opportunity to expand, right? So because I realized that I came from brokey broke, and now I'm helping people, I expanded myself, and now I reach back and I'm like, oh my God, I used to sell insurance, Cori. I used to do divorces. I used to do mutual funds because, I thought, hey, I help them with regards to like just securing themselves on the financial side. But I thought that that's what I needed, mutual funds. I thought that I needed stock. I thought that I needed real estate, and that's all good. But when I found out that, guess what? My biggest investment is my intellectual property, the thing that I know how to do. I'm like, oh my God, what you know creates cash flow. And then that's how I started to expand. And that's how I started to say, you know what? I want you to understand and appreciate that this opportunity to expand yourself, not just go to school, get good grades and get a good job, but give yourself permission to expand. Give yourself permission to build out a business. Give yourself permission to just become the wealthier solution for yourself and your family. And give yourself permission, get this, y'all, to be the legacy trailblazer in your family. Because at least somebody got to do it. I don't know about you, but I named and claimed I'm the rich auntie in my family. Okay. So with regards to it, so I created the trust, and now I'm actually encouraging, motivating my family through setting milestones. Well, if you do this, I'll give you this. If you do this, I'll give you that. Because here's the thing, without someone, becoming that first generation trailblazer, everybody misses out. So every situation, every story, every legacy needs somebody. And because law is in everything, when you level up, honey, they're going to look to the left, they're going to look to the right, they're going to do that extra compliance check to make sure that you're legit, especially as you can continually, the more money you make, the more money they try to take. But there's so many different legal solutions. And just think of law as a resource, because law as a guide and a shield. And more importantly, think of law as an opportunity for you to create whatever you need to create, whether it's a business, a trust, a bodyguard, a bulletproof, a shield, a vest, whatever it is, as you are building up your bank and becoming the bank for your family. So I love talking law. I'm empowered by law. I love when I'm talking to trailblazers who are like, you know what, I'm about to do that thing, and I'm about to build as much as I can. And that's is where I come in to help you to understand and appreciate, hey, you make your millions, protect your millions, secure your millions, by creating that business, and also by creating a trust fund legacy, a trust funded legacy. How about that?
Okay. And where can they find you on social media or your website?
Yes. So I can be found on social media at The Legal Diva. That's definitely my home place, is thelegaldiva.com as well.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you, Toni, for being a part of this amazing event. I'm sure that the audience is jumping at the bit like, oh, I'm definitely going to be seeing her session because you gave us so much in this little bit of time. So guys, make sure again that you register. It's a free ticket. So there is no excuse for not being in the room. This event will take place October 18th and 19th. There will be time for Q&A. So have your questions ready. And of course, you don't have to wait till then to connect with our amazing guest, Toni Moore. You can go to her website, you can book a call, you can get the trademark already in place. Like, you can get to work right now. So don't wait if you are ready to move forward. Guys, again, all the information for Toni's amazing her amazing information that she has for us, including what she'll be giving us for the VIP, will be in the show notes. And we will see you guys next episode. Remember, I rock, you rock, we all rock. Until next time, we'll talk to you then. Bye, guys. And note for Riz, sorry, Riz is the podcast editor. Can we do a disclaimer on the front and end of this video with the lawyer disclaimer, just so people know that there will be a legal professional, but she's not giving legal advice. Thank you. All right.
And that's a wrap on another episode of I Rock Business with Confidence podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining our journey into the world of entrepreneurship. If today's episode inspired you or just gave you the tools to tackle your next business challenge, we'd love your support. Please like, share, follow, subscribe, and rate us with a glowing 5 stars. And don't forget to leave us a review. Are you an entrepreneur with a unique perspective, expertise, or actionable strategies that our audience can implement today to advance their entrepreneurial journey? We're always on the lookout for guests who are ready to share their stories and insights. If that's you, please reach out to us. Remember, entrepreneurship isn't just about the destination, it's about the journey. And here at I Rock Business with Confidence, we're here to journey with you. Until next time, keep rocking your business with confidence. We can't wait to see where your entrepreneurship journey